welcome or welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you a simple DIY way to hang your wallpaper. That's right, this is peel and stick. Come along with me. So what you're going to see here is me doing a little bit of prep work. That way I won't make too big of a mess since this is in my room. My bed is in here and I didn't want to move everything out. So what I'm using here is just some painter's tape to line the wall because you're going to see me hang a tarp eventually. So unfortunately, I didn't record the video of me actually making the partial wall. But if you stick along with me and watch the rest of my videos, I'm sure this won't be the only wall that I build. So this may very well be an unnecessary step for most of you, since some of you may not care about the cleanup. However, this is as simple as it looks. I'm using painter's tape to line the wall. That way when I use the duct tape, because this is a pretty heavy tarp, it won't peel the paint off the wall. I chose to lie the painter's tape in this sort of pattern because I still will need quite a bit of space in order to get behind the tarp in order to sand this wall. And while you continue to watch me layer the painter's tape in order to protect the wall from any paint peeling, I just want to remind you to subscribe to my channel. I can promise you this won't be my last DIY. I also would like to encourage you to comment. Whether you want to lay into me about how I'm leaning over this ladder and it's not safe, or you have a specific question, or you want to tell me what color your wallpaper is, it's okay. Just comment. I can take it. So next, you're just going to see me using the duct tape now to go ahead and line a few pieces of the tarp with the tape. That way it makes it easier for me to stick the tarp in place. So what you're seeing here is me being careful about placing the duct tape on top of the painter's tape, because again, that was the point of using the painter's tape. That way the duct tape didn't pull any of the paint away from the roof or my other finished wall. And again, I just want to go ahead and mention that for a lot of you, this may be an unnecessary step. You may not care about the dust that will come from sanding. You may have an empty room. However, for me, I just wanted to make sure that I kept the dust in a very manageable area to clean up really quickly, because I do have two smaller children. And your wall may already be ready for the peel and stick wallpaper. But however, I just wanted to put this in so the people that do need to use this technique know a better way to do it without ruining the paint on your walls. And like any of my other DIYs, you're going to see one of my favorite helpers come in to do just that. Help me out. However, this is a DIY that you can manage to do all by yourself. And so now you're just going to see a sped up version of me doing the exact same thing to the other side of the wall. And don't worry, for all of you who are wondering, I have noticed that the other side of the wall isn't quite complete yet. However, I haven't decided exactly what I want to do with it yet. So now is a great time to subscribe so you can see what I do to the other side of the wall. anyone who may be confused, I know you clicked on the video in the middle. You should have watched the whole thing. Go back, watch the whole thing. However, I'm taking a piece of duct tape, placing it on the tarp as well as on the painter's tape so that I don't make a huge mess in my room. And for those of you wondering how would I make a huge mess, now is the best part. It's the sanding to prep my partial wall for my peel and stick wallpaper. After using my fancy electric sander, I decided to go back in with just my hand and some sandpaper because there were a few areas I didn't quite want to get with the electric sander because I didn't want to chip any paint off the wall. However, this may be unnecessary for you. And just like all of my DIYs, I always go in and clean any area that I am choosing to work on. However, this is necessary so that the peel and stick wallpaper will actually adhere to the wall. And just like that, after cleaning the wall, it's time to get sticky. Let's put up this wallpaper. So, fun fact about wallpaper that many of you may not know, there are patterns that will repeat themselves. So the best thing to do is to go ahead and measure your space and pick the pattern that will repeat itself enough times so that you can put the peel and stick wallpaper onto your wall. So when placing your wallpaper onto your surface area, it's important that you leave a little bit overhang on all sides of your wall. That way you are able to cut the wallpaper into size instead of trying to make the wallpaper fit corner to corner perfectly. And don't worry, if what I just said makes little to no sense, stick around in this video and I will show you exactly what I mean in a different angle. So after removing just a little bit of the paper from the back so that the wallpaper could adhere to the wall, I am now going to use a straight edge that isn't sharp to help me stick the wallpaper to the wall. While continuing to work just a few centimeters at a time, I'm going to use my straight edge while removing the backing from the wallpaper to continue to lay the wallpaper flat to my wall. And while unfortunately this particular brand of wallpaper did not come with a straight edge, you can use anything that isn't too sharp to go ahead and adhere the wallpaper to the wall. And if you too chose a wallpaper that didn't come with a straight edge, go ahead and comment and let me know what you use in order to adhere your wallpaper to the wall. And while this is a very simple DIY that I know you will master like the champ you are, it does take quite a bit of time, moving just a few centimeters at a time, either from left to right or right to left, using your straight edge to adhere the wallpaper to the wall. It's not a race. It's okay. We want it to be pretty when we're finished, so take your time. And if you too have a partial wall that you're going to hang a barn door on possibly, this would be a great time to continue wrapping the wallpaper to the other side. But since we already seen that the other side of my wall is not complete, I am choosing to cut my wallpaper after reaching the other side of the studs. And for all my perfection warriors out there, I just want to go ahead and state again that I'm not sure what it is that I want to do to the other side of this wall. So until then, the only part of this wall that is important to me is the part that will be visible from this side of the barn door. So moving on to my second piece of wallpaper, what you can see here is me locating again where the pattern of the wallpaper starts to repeat itself. And if you haven't already, go ahead and comment below and let me know if you knew that the wallpaper had a pattern cycle. And after locating my designated pattern cycle, I went ahead and cut the wallpaper down to size. That way it wasn't such a dramatic overhang. But again, you do want to remember not to cut the wallpaper down to the exact pattern, but to leave just a little bit of surface area overhang so that you can cut the paper down to size once it is already adhered to the wall. And if you didn't know already, here at Simply Champ TV, our #1 priority is safety. So I just want to remind you to please be careful when using your box cutter or your scissors. Again, this isn't a race. Take your time and let's make this wallpaper look like real stone. One thing that I find really important to stress, when using peel and stick wallpaper, you want to make sure that you overlap your pieces. And this doesn't have to be a dramatic overlap. 1 centimeter will be fine. However, you just want to make sure that when your wallpaper shrinks, and it will shrink based on the temperature in your room, that you don't have any visible gaps. After getting the first piece of peel and stick wallpaper into position, I then moved on to my second piece. Using the same technique, peeling the backing just a few centimeters at a time, I found it easier to go from middle to right and then from middle to left to adhere the peel and stick wallpaper to the wall. And be sure that, again, your straight edge isn't too sharp, because you do want to apply just a little bit of pressure to the wallpaper to make sure that it really adheres. And since you're here, I'm just going to assume that you're choosing to use wallpaper on one of your walls in your home. So how's about you comment and let me know what color you chose, what pattern you chose, and why. And again, what you can see here is me in the process of finding the pattern cycle that I had chosen to use. This time I didn't have to do too much cutting back of the paper because the pattern wasn't at a dramatic overhang, so it was perfect. And just for the sake of repetition, again, peeling back just enough of the paper backing off of the peel and stick wallpaper so that it adheres to the wall just a little bit, and then centimeter by centimeter I will pull it down, moving from middle to right and then from middle to left to adhere the peel and stick wallpaper to the wall. And with just a little bit of pressure with my straight edge, you want to make sure that you really press the peel and stick wallpaper into the creases of the wall. So in my case, it is in between the wall and the ceiling. Just applying just a little bit of pressure to make sure that it actually sticks, so that when it's time for me to cut away the excess paper, it'll be super simple and easy. And I know that it's a terrible angle, but all that I'm doing here is taking a box cutter to remove the excess wallpaper. And if you didn't hear me during the first 3 pieces of wallpaper that I adhere to the wall, this is me starting the process of finding the pattern cycle that I had chosen, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start the process of removing the backing centimeter by centimeter using my straight edge to make sure that I press the peel and stick wallpaper into the edges of the wall. And for the final part of the process of getting the peel and stick wallpaper into the desired surface area, I'm going ahead and running my box cutter along the seams of the wall, making sure not to apply too much pressure as to cut into the wall, but making sure that I create a good enough track line so that I could rip the remaining paper away. And after getting the peel and stick wallpaper all secured to the wall, the final step was me adding a bead of caulk. Now, while this may be unnecessary to you, I found that it really finished the look. And of course, what you just heard and saw there was me not finishing the project without an issue. So apparently the side of my caulk had a hole. So instead of doing it the traditional way with the caulk gun, I just put a bit on my finger and then ran it along the seam of the wall. Too easy. And after applying the bead of caulk, even though I had to use my hand, I went in with a wet rag and wiped the excess caulk away without letting the caulk dry and without applying too much pressure as to remove the caulk from the seam of the wall. And just like that, you've just simply DIY upgraded your wall like the champ you are. I'm super proud of you. See you next time.